SeatGeek is the easiest way to find the best deals on tickets to pretty much any live event. Concerts, sports, theater, comedy, whatever you want. Download the SeatGeek app today and enter promo code SEATS to save $20 on your first purchase.
What's going on, everybody? It's Therese Paylor, Chiefs beat writer with the Kansas City Star, and we're back in the middle of it for another edition of Chiefs Game Plan. We have a great show for you today, as always. Kick off this thing with an interview with one of my main men. You guys know him before if you've been listening to the podcast for a while. It's Vic Tafur, Raiders beat writer from the Athletic San Francisco. We dive into the Raiders' improving run game, the return of cornerback Sean Smith into the starting lineup, and the various ways you can attack the Raiders' offense and defense. Really good conversation with Vic, who's covered the Raiders for a long time and he's really one of the best in the country. So I know you guys know that by now if you've been listening. That interview was followed up with a weekly A-Team roundtable of myself, Sam Mellinger, Vahir Gregorian, Blair Kirchhoff, and David Hewlett, as we wrap up the pod with a long discussion about Marcus Peters' suspension, what it means in both the short term and the long. I think you guys will find the long part interesting. And we make our predictions for the game. It's a long conversation. We answer your questions as well. Really proud of this one. I think you guys will enjoy it. So without further ado, here we go. Here is Raiders beat writer Vic Tafur of the Athletic San Francisco. Here we go. Hey, I'm pleased to welcome on a man you guys are very familiar with by now. A man I've had on multiple times the last few years. And this is one of the best beat writers in the country. It is my main man from the Athletic in the Bay Area is Vic Tafur. Vic, how you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Appreciate that. How you been?
I'm great, man. Ready to talk about this game with you, man. I don't think either one of us would have expected the teams we cover to be 6-6 right now. I do think that your team is playing just a little bit better than mine. I'm curious to know what the Raiders are saying about this matchup and a little beyond just they're a good team and all that. How confident are they heading into this thing?
I think more than usual. Obviously in past years they've had trouble there, but obviously they beat them already this year. That was big. That's a big emotional, last-second win. They're coming off 2 wins against pretty bad teams, but still it's 2 straight wins. So I think they were kind of down the dumps earlier this year, and they had lost 4 in a row, and some are counting them out. But now, all of a sudden they're back in it. They're 6-6, 3-way tie, and if they win on Sunday, they're in really good shape.
I hear you. Okay. As always, we start with the offense, and then we talk about the defense. So, Amari Cooper hasn't practiced the last few days. Any sense at all he's going to be ready to go, man?
I doubt it. He just got cleared out of the concussion protocol yesterday. Okay. He still's got a bad ankle from that same play where he got hit in the Broncos game. So, didn't practice today. He's been working on the side with trainers, but the Raiders are pretty cautious in general. I would think, especially with him coming off the head thing and the ankle, I would imagine that they'd be safe and wait until next week. I got you.
The Crabtree should be back. And in general, how's this offense looking to you right now? Are they operating a little better than they were earlier in the season? Remember then, we were kind of talking about Downing messing the offense up. But just curious how you think they've done since then.
I think the offensive line has gotten better. I think they made some adjustments. They were kind of getting comfortable with Marshawn Lynch early on in the season. They were on the same page as far as Marshawn, what he liked to do, and he's been more of a zone guy than the power guy, which the Raiders run. So I just think that the Mike Tyson did a good job, offensive line coach, getting them kind of straightened away. I think Donald Penn held out training camp. That hurt him. He wasn't quite the same when he got back. I think now you see him and Assembly kind of working together better on those double teams, which is a big part of their offense. So I think the O-line is coming around. Marshawn's had about 3 good games in a row. He's coming around. So I think there's some hope just from that point of view, from the running the ball and kind of getting the tempo going.
Are they going to more power stuff? I saw Marshawn broke a long run last week. It seemed like that came on a power play.
It did. It was perfect timing. It was a power play, 3rd and 1. For some reason, the Giants, obviously we both see them live, are not very good. Oh. The Giants blitzed. I don't know what their safety was doing, and the linebacker went the wrong way. And so once KO took out the linebacker, it was wide open down the middle of the field for Marshawn.
Yeah, man. That's bad news for the Chiefs if that line is getting going. I like the Raiders' line. I was wondering what was going on earlier in the year. How's Derek Carr looking, and have they synced this offense fully with Todd Downing yet?
I would say not quite. I think Derek is still not where he was last year. I don't know if it's the injuries. He's kind of getting rid of the ball a little too fast. But I just think, obviously, Cooper, when he was playing, had some drops. So the passing game wasn't really in sync. I think, obviously, getting Crabtree back is huge. I think Cordarrelle Patterson showed he's a weapon. Didn't have a full route tree, but he's definitely good on screen plays and some of the trickery, like maybe some reverses or end arounds. Definitely a big-time athlete, super quick and fast, and definitely making guys miss and get downfield. So I think he's been a weapon for him this year. Other than that, though, like Seth Roberts has been kind of off this year, not been much. Johnny Holton's kind of a deep threat once in a while, but again, he doesn't have the hands to really be more than that on a regular basis. I think Jared Cook obviously had a huge game against you guys the first time, but since then he hasn't done much. I think teams kind of take him away a little bit now. I think that's kind of been a new approach against the Raiders. So we'll see if he bounces back this week.
Oh, isn't that nice? I'm sure that he'll be ready to roll because he lit him up last time. Okay, in the recent games the Raiders lost to the Patriots. The Bills, like what have the defense done? What has the defense done to keep the offense in check?
Well, I mean, they played the Broncos and the Giants. They played Paxton Lynch and Geno Smith.
Yeah.
So now they're back on track. But I think some of the same question marks are still there. Obviously, I think covering tight ends has been an issue. I know they had success against Kelsey the first time with Bruce Irvin kind of knocking him around a little bit, but tight ends have been an issue. Covering running backs have been an issue against the Patriots that killed them. So I think the same pass coverage problems are there. They're not great at safety. Their middle linebacker, Navarro Bowman's been okay, but he's kind of he's not quite the guy he was in his heyday. So I think their defense still got some issues, which I'm sure the Chiefs can exploit.
On defense, I am curious to know about your evaluation of Navarro Bowman. Like nobody thought he was going to be like a great cover guy, but he does seem to have added something to that front, giving him a little bit more juice in the front seven.
Yeah, he's got the experience. Obviously, the guy that were playing before him, Markel Lee, was a young, very green kind of guy, strictly a run guy. So I think Bowman has the experience. He kind of is the calming factor. Definitely a leader on this team. I think he's definitely still good against the run at times. I think where you get in trouble with him is if you play him on passing downs or teams go at him in the air on a running down, and you're going to have trouble. So I think he didn't look very good against the Patriots. Obviously, that's a tough matchup. He's been better in his last 2 weeks, but I'm curious to see how he does against the Chiefs on Sunday.
That's interesting. I see my old friend Sean Smith is back in the starting lineup.
How about that?
What's been the little ballad with Sean Smith? What's going on with him?
They had nobody else. They ran out of bodies. Nah, I'm being mean. I think Sean's gotten a little better. Obviously, Sean's got limitations. He's not as quick as he once was. I don't think he ever was quick, but he's lost some ability with his feet, and the ability to run's not quite where it was at in years past. So he has trouble against smaller guys. He can guard the bigger guys okay. Like he did a good job against Demaryius Thomas recently. That's kind of his niche right now. I think they try to help him out and other kind of matchups with some safety help. So I think he's a veteran. I think with him, it's all about I like Sean, but he's a weird guy where he has all this confidence in the exterior. But I think on the field, if things go wrong, I think he doesn't bounce back well from bad plays. It takes him a while. That's where he gets in trouble. So I think that's my analysis of Sean Smith.
Your body language doctor. I got you. How's Carl Joseph been doing? I liked him as a player. Just curious what you think of him right now.
I think he's solid. I mean, I think ideally when you get a safety in the first round, you want a big-time impact player, a guy who makes plays, and you're like, wow, that guy's something else. He's not been that. He's good. I think he's okay. I just don't think he gives you not enough in pass coverage, or also not really stuff in the box either. I think he's he's good. I don't think he's really been a difference maker, which I think is what they needed out of him.
If you were facing the Raiders defense, like what would you go at, man?
I would throw to my tight end and running backs every time, and then I would say every eighth play I'd throw deep, maybe see if I could play down there. But I just think I'm surprised when teams go away from that plan. Like the Patriots did all day long. I just think it's there for you. I think I'll tell you this: when John Pagano came in 2 weeks ago, they made a big deal about how the Raiders have less explosive plays. Their secondary apparently has gotten better on the plays over the top, but my answer was that's only because guys are wide open 15 yards down the field. I mean, if I have a quarterback I have a guy wide open 12 yards away. I'm not going to go deep. Why would I go deep? So I think that stat's a little skewed. But
I love it.
so again, they haven't done really well against good quarterbacks. I regard Alex as a good quarterback still, so I think that's going to be a tough spot for him Sunday.
All right, man. Is there anything else about this Raider team that fans here should know? I'm actually curious to know, like, has anybody talked about Marcus Peters missing this game? What have you heard about that?
Well, the company lines, I'm sure Del Rio told him to say to everybody was like, it doesn't matter. It's like an injury. It's no big deal. We're not going to adjust our game plan, which, it's a bunch of malarkey. I'm sure it's a big deal in the meeting rooms, but the outward answer's been, whatever, no big deal. But, definitely. I mean, on that last play in the game, the first game, they went away from him. They went that play, the Crabtree for the last score. Yeah. They usually run that play to the right, but they ran it the other way because of Peters being on that side of the field. So they're definitely aware of where he was. Definitely, sure not having him out there is definitely a big deal.
Wow. Did you talk to your man Crabtree this week?
I'm sorry, I missed that one. What was that?
Did you talk to your man Crabtree this week? Was Crabtree?
I did a little bit. He's fired up. I mean, obviously he's emotional. Always missing a week hurt him, but this is definitely a big game. I think he wants to show that he's still one of the top guys in the league.
All right, my man. All right, Vic, give me your prediction for Sunday, brother.
I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm going to say the Chiefs win by a field goal, 33-30.
I'm going to warn you now. The visiting team beat writer has picked the Chiefs the last 4 weeks, bro.
I can see that.
Stay with it, though. If you believe it, stay with it.
I'm not going to go to Vegas and bet money on it, but I mean, I just think, like I said, this team, I'm not buying the defense improvement. I know everyone's saying the defense has gotten better of late, but again, you beat Paxton Lynch and Geno Smith. That means pretty much nothing to me. So I got to see it against Alex Smith, and I still think Alex has got too much to handle for these guys.
All right. Appreciate it as always, Vic. Take care, man. I'll see you on Sunday, okay?
All right, partner. Appreciate it.
Yep. Okay, good stuff there from Vic. Let's go to the A-Team Roundtable. Hey, everybody, it's Therese Paylor, Chief Beat Writer for the Kansas City Star, and I'm here with the A-Team. It's Blair Kirchhoff.
Howdy.
Vahe Gregorian.
Salutations.
Sam Mellinger.
Hello.
Very interesting day. A lot going on. We're going to talk a lot of Harrison Butker right now. We're gonna right from the go.
Dive right
into the heroic way he missed his first kick and came back.
It was incredible.
The news of the day.
What a moment.
Obviously. Marcus Peters, this is a big deal in multiple ways. And what we're going to do for you is we're going to tell you how it's a big deal. We're going to tell you why it's a big deal. We're going to talk about his future. But in the immediate future right now, let's just go through like what this means. Obviously, Marcus Peters will be suspended in this very crucial game against the Oakland Raiders.
Against his team?
A team he always plays well against. Mm-hmm. The Chiefs need to win this game. They've lost 6 of 7. And they're going to go against a team with 2 very good receivers, a Pro Bowl quarterback, and that means they're going to be an injury away from playing Phillip Gaines at cornerback. So this is a really impactful suspension in the short term and in the long. This is the first time Andy Reid has suspended a player in Kansas City for an entire game. Last year, in December, he suspended Travis Kelce for a quarter. We still don't know what that was for, but Kelce did play. And I will remind you that Kelce was ejected from the game against the Jaguars, and he was not suspended the next week. He played. So this is the first time.
Not suspended.
Right.
Yep.
And the league fined him.
Yep.
So this is the first time that Andy has done this, which means he felt this rose to the level of a suspension. It was my opinion, and you had a column on whether or not Andy needed to do something, but it was my opinion that you needed to gauge the room and see where the leaders were. Where were they with this? Did they feel like something needed to be done for the incident on Sunday? He threw the flag into the stands. He walked off. If you feel like he quit on the team, I get that. But on the other hand, why was there security personnel walking with him? That means everyone thought he was suspended. Ejected. So it's a complicated thing, but Andy obviously waited because he did not announce this Monday. He did what he needed to do. He weighed this and came to a conclusion.
I'm
to
interested.
the room, as you
I think so.
suggested.
Although, he did say that he told the leaders about this after he made the decision.
Yeah,
But he settled on this for a little bit, though, because he didn't do this the next day. He probably did it yesterday when Marcus tweeted LOL. So that's my hunch.
You know,
but I want to know what you guys think.
Well, one quick thing that's interesting that also distinguishes it in a different way from the Kelsey thing is, as far as we know, this is the first time Andy's ever spoken to a situation like this, and he felt it necessary to bring it up himself on a Wednesday afternoon. We've seen situations where he'd just say, as we famously do, I'm not going to get into all that. I mean, he didn't go deep into it, but I thought it was of interest that he felt the need to state it publicly.
Wasn't asked about it.
Wasn't asked. He brought it up before he took questions.
Before the first question.
Yeah.
Well, he was trying to do that so he would not get asked questions about that. But that, come on.
How'd that work?
Good luck.
Yeah, come on. Of course, we're going to ask questions about it. I am interested to know, from your point of view, guys, what does this mean for both the immediate future and the long? Vahe, I know you're working on something maybe on the long-term future. Like, what's your thoughts on it?
Well, a couple things. I mean, you're right, though. They're two separate matters in a way, because it sure seems like something's gone awry with this team, and maybe part of the drift here is needing a message to get them recentered and saying, this is what we do as a team, et cetera, et cetera. It really depends on how we understand why they did it with Marcus. But in the long term, this is something that really came out of a discussion with you, Terez, a little bit. Is what does it say about what this means for the future with Marcus? And we haven't even gotten into the whole other aspect of this in terms of his relationship with the fans, if you want to call it that, which certainly has taken a turn with the protests during the anthem and things of that nature, and with Marcus not doing that since Clark Hunt had a talk with him, or since Clark Hunt talked to us. So you wonder if you see footprints here of a questionable future for him continuing with the franchise.
And one thing I'll bring to mind here is entering his fourth year. This is his third. The Chiefs have a decision to make on him. They have to decide whether or not to give him the fifth year option. I think it'd be worth $8-9 million, something like that. And this year has gone very poorly for both sides. This is not the ideal third season for this guy. And I think at this point, it's okay to wonder whether or not that extension is going to be exercised here, because you can't have another season like this. And I think it's okay to wonder about that now. I do. I don't know if I can't imagine Marcus has been okay with some of the things he's seen tweeted to him and messaged him. I can't imagine many of you are very happy with him if you're very patriotic. I get that. I also understand that some of the things you've seen on field are probably distasteful to you. I think this is one of those situations where, we might be in a situation where a guy's a bad fit in the city, and sometimes that happens. Doesn't mean that that's exactly the case. Doesn't mean that can't change. But Andy's decision, in my opinion, to suspend Marcus will only validate the people who do not like him already. And they will have all the ammunition they need to never like him. Whether or not the decision is wrong or right, because obviously he went too far. But there's a lot of levels to this. And I'd be interested to know what you guys think about that.
Well, I wrote this the other day. I thought they had to do something. I didn't know that they'd go full game. I think I was thinking more like a half or something like that. But I'm not going to argue. I mean, you can't. I'm working under the assumption too. I don't know if you guys are as well. This was not about the flag. This was about walking off the field. That is my assumption.
100%.
I guess.
Because he left the game.
I think so.
Apparently told everybody that he was suspended. That was a security guard that walked off the field. I think because I think a security guard, even when there's an injury, a security guard kind of escorts you.
He was a chief security guard.
Yeah, the chief, travels with the team, works here in the building. As far as the future, I don't know. I mean, you guys probably know if you watch this on any regular basis. I really like Marcus as a player, and I think football will trump, sort of some of this stuff. That he's too good at too important of a position, and they'll do everything they can to sort of get him in line. I understand what you're saying, Terez, about a bad fit for a city. The only part of what you said that I'd quibble with a little bit. I don't want to get into this whole big thing because this would be a 5-hour show or whatever, but you could be patriotic and support Marcus. People, I'm patriotic and that's why I don't like Marcus. There's plenty of people who are patriotic and support, as patriots, rights to, peaceful protests and all that. But little quibble, I know that's not what you meant. But I think that they had to do it because the season's unraveling in a lot of ways. And this was the most sort of egregious example of on-field behavior. And, it's unfortunate in some ways because of this off-the-field stuff that it lands on Marcus, because you're right, people do dump all of this other, kind of crap onto this. But people who hate Marcus just for the protests, they're going to hate him regardless. And I think just from a football point of view, he walked off the field when the game was still going on. I thought they had to do something. I didn't think he had a choice.
Well, but if he believed he had been disqualified, maybe we'll never get to talk to him about that. Did he assume he was disqualified? Did an official say something? Was he told that? Did he just? I don't know. Maybe I'm naive about this, but I think that the fans, Chiefs fans, are unhappy with Marcus Peters for not standing for the anthem. But he took care of that, right? He doesn't. We don't see him now during the anthem.
Stays in the room.
Stays in the room.
Yep.
So that, to me, that was resolved. They don't like him because his tackling habits.
Yep.
We saw one of those examples in the Jets game. But the Chiefs are a better team with Marcus Peters.
No question.
And that, to me, is the bottom line. That's the bottom line. Not whether he's a fit or not, but you want the best players that you want the best 22 guys on the field.
He was a really good. I'm sorry, Terez, but he was a really good player last year, and he was making plays and interceptions and
having antics
and kneeling.
Yeah, and kneeling and punting the ball into
for
the
whatever
stands.
reason. Yeah, I don't know why people forget about that, but he was doing this all last year.
And they don't. I also have an issue. I think some of the anger about what he did Sunday is certainly exacerbated by people who probably don't like him already,
right?
Because of
I agree.
because of the anthem issues. And it doesn't matter where you come out on that. And I'm glad you clarified for me. That's not what I meant. I was just trying to.
Sure.
All of us in here are patriotic, right? But a lot of people sometimes use that as a reason to dislike that. Look, the point here is that this is a guy that has been divisive in the city, and I think he's always been much more liked in the locker room than probably fans like him, especially this year. I do think it's interesting, though. Vahe, we were talking about this. I don't think there's a set belief in this locker room about whether this is the right or wrong thing to do. I think there are some people that probably you would expect to defend Marcus that think, yeah, that was too far. And some people you'd probably think would be against Marcus and say, we probably need him to play. I don't think he deserves it. I don't think that the room is a cohesive 100% in line with that, right? I don't think everybody. I think people have different opinions on this in there.
It never could be,
sure.
Just the sheer math of getting 53 people to agree on anything, short of Marcus just doing something, that no NFL player has ever done on the field. I think there's always going to be some disagreement. But anyway.
No, just that. We had a chance to get around the room.
Beyond that, though. Beyond that. I think it's probably more 50-50 than you probably think.
Yeah.
And in an interesting way, without getting giving too much away here, but we did have a chance to get around the locker room and kind of privately canvass some people that, and I think this is what Terez means, maybe some people you'd expect would automatically say, oh, we're with them all the way and he got screwed, or other guys who would say this, he had it coming. It's not really like that. It's much more thoughtful, actually, than that. It's right, and I think
this is more nuanced than you probably think.
Yeah.
Well, including Andy Reid's responsibility here. What? I think there was, as you said, after the game, we all thought Andy's got to do something. Mm-hmm. What's he going to do? It turns out he went farther than he ever went in terms of punishment, team discipline with another player. And what message is that supposed to send, or will it be will it be agreed upon by everybody in the locker room? I don't know. I don't think so. But I think maybe for the first time since I've been covering the Chiefs, it was a bold stroke by Andy Reid. And I just haven't seen too many of those.
When it comes to player discipline.
Yeah, and right, Kelsey doing his thing, throwing the towel and and the hand gesture, it was, we need him to be, not do that, basically was the message.
Context matters too, not just like all the Marcus stuff that we're talking about, but I think it matters if the Chiefs have lost 6 of 7. Like I wonder if when they lost that game in Minnesota, when Donald Stevenson stripped was it Charkandrick West, and that was the 5th loss. That was 1-5, and at that point after that game, if doesn't have to be Marcus Peters, just pick whoever, Travis Kelce or whoever, like if threw a flag, walked off the field, did that stuff, I wonder if the reaction would have been, similar. I think it matters that this team has looked like, they have not shown the signs of a well-coached team for some time, and I think that matters too.
Well, look,
The losing matters too.
Yes.
The losing, and in the very moment we're talking about was like the 5th penalty in 4 plays.
Yes.
Right, and a team that looked unhinged at the end of the game, certainly undisciplined, and if you wanted a symbol of that, it was the guy walking off the field. Right, fairly or unfairly, I mean, that was the most colorful of the misadventures.
Literally had no impact on the game.
Yeah,
but
I think
that's
that's-
what you're going
that's
to remember.
important.
It's memorialized
It is.
by that.
It's
It is.
important that play didn't affect the outcome of the game. And maybe I'm the only person who thought this at the time. He threw the penalty flag into the stands, and then when I heard that, I didn't, because it was on the opposite end of where we were sitting, right? I didn't see the play, or we had to see the replay to see what was the penalty called. The foul was on Steven Nelson. And I just thought, there's a guy who's so sick of everything that's going on and mad that his teammate got flagged that he took the penalty flag and threw it in the stands.
Marcus has had
Took up for his guy.
Yeah. He was defending his guy there.
Well, Marcus has had it. His body language throughout that entire game was abysmal. He is really frustrated, and there was always this concern. He cares so much about winning. He cares so much about football that if things started going poorly, that this could happen. There was always this concern. Some people take it harder than others, and some people are more volatile than others. And I mean, you saw it throughout the course of the game. That third, put it this way, I'd be shocked if converting the third, like losing the 13 of 20 on third downs. I mean, there were just the complete frustration. I think that probably has something to do with the fact teams don't really need to go at him. I mean, you look at that game, the Jets are running combos with Jermaine Kearse and Robbie Anderson on the other side of the field. You don't need to throw at Marcus for? They're putting Chad Hansen on Marcus Peters. Have fun, because they don't let him travel. So I was like, okay, here you go. We can just scheme away from you. I will tell you this. I looked this up on Football Outsiders. Marcus Peters has been targeted 52 times this year. And according to Football Outsiders, he has an offensive success rate of 44%. That's the second lowest in football. That means that more often than not, when something really needs to get something, when a team needs to get something on Marcus, they don't get it.
Explain offensive success percentage too. That's incomplete pass, interception.
I'll read you the direct, but it takes into account situation too.
Yeah.
So like on 3rd and 5, if you give up a 3-yard completion, that's a win for you, right?
Yep.
It's that nuanced.
Yep. Second lowest in football.
Yeah, it is.
That's surprising because it doesn't seem like he's played, up to his standard.
It's the percentage of plays where this cornerback was in covers that did not meet the baseline for offensive success. 45% of yardage on first down, 60% on second down, 100% on third down. And the reason you're saying that is because of the missed tackles. Mm-hmm. The effort was not there, but they got that fixed. Al Harris said it would get fixed, and he's been better at tackling. And it's also some of the blunders they've had, right? Where the switch route, wasn't he one of the people that ran with Steve Nelson?
Collided.
So and then some in Dallas too. There was a blown coverage. So the ones he's blown have been pretty. My point is this is probably a lot more nuanced than many people than the default assumption is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
What do we think this is going to do for this team in the immediate future? What does this mean for this week?
Weakens the secondary.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how's the secondary going to line up? Who's going to be for the first time in 3 years? Who's going to
Terrell
start
Reeves
left
better
corner?
play a whole game, and he better play better than he did against the Jets in that first half.
Andy was asked about that today, and it didn't sound like he was ready for a full load of action.
I hope you like Terrence Mitchell, because
And I do. I do like Terrence Mitchell.
guess who played left cornerback in college and high school?
Mitch?
Yeah.
How about
Team
that?
Mitch.
So I think you're going to probably see him. probably Nelson in the slot, and then Revis and nickel. But you put you one injury away from Gaines. And, Gaines is probably okay if you keep him on the outside, but if he's on the inside,
You can't play the slot.
if Steve Nelson gets hurt, you're in trouble, basically. That's what that means. If Steve Nelson gets hurt, I don't know who's I guess Gaines is playing the slot. So that weakens you. This Raider team can throw. They threw for 417 yards.
Yep.
I tell you what, when we're sitting here talking about it, if Steve Nelson gets hurt, you're in trouble after the last series he had out there in New York or New Jersey. Oof.
It's true. It's true. Somebody brings it up here, like, you might have to go to Ron Parker. Like, Parker might have to play, but we don't know if Eric Murray can play. Eric Murray's got an ankle issue. He didn't practice today.
Didn't practice today either.
So now what? Now Steve Terrell. Terrell was okay, though. Terrell had some plays. Another player who was actually good on Sunday was Benny Logan. Like, despite that penalty, he was great. But my point is, like, in the short term, it weakens you. I am wondering, do you guys think there's any chance that if they win, right, does this give this team any kind of juice? Show Andy's willing to discipline somebody?
Sure.
Is there something to that?
As bad as things are going, if they win, they're in first place.
And you can
that's right.
You can interpret a win any way you want.
Yeah.
To the winners go the interpretation
You know what?
of their condition.
There you go.
But look, they lose this game. This game really does tilt everything, and it goes for more than just interpretation. It really becomes, the definition of where they are. They lose this game, they lose their power to control what's in front of them, right? It's...
Brian LeBird says, so we can expect Nelson to get hurt on Sundays?
First series. Right out the gate.
That's good, Brian. One thing that's interesting is that, like, Peters can't practice. Like, he's not here. Like,
that's right.
I'd be shocked if he's not on a flight to Oakland or wasn't on one last night. If they lose this game, we sure he comes back? I'm just completely throwing it out there.
Like, just gets on a plane and comes back to Kansas City.
I'm just saying. I don't know. He tweeted.
That would make that fifth-year option decision a little easier.
Well, he tweeted LOL yesterday.
He did.
I'm assuming that's when he was informed of this decision. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there to the room. That's not based on anything. If they lose and they're 6-7.
Oh, I gotta think he'll be back. And
Okay.
Yeah, I'm assuming, but
he likes his contract.
Marcus,
And
Now that you've planted this thought, though,
I know.
is he going to be on the Raiders' flight home with Marshawn?
I'm sure he's in Oakland, right? Like,
I would
he's
think.
got to come back, but like literally with Marcus, I don't think you can predict anything. I would not have expected that man to punt the ball into the stands twice.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
I'm just not.
He's got to come back, otherwise he's not going to get a second contract from anybody.
Probably. That's.
What team?
Well,
he's actually already vested this year,
Yeah.
so it counts as an accrued season.
But he'd get signed. Somebody would take a chance on the talent. Wouldn't be as much money.
Right.
He'd certainly cost himself not just the last quarter of the contract or the salary.
I think you got to play 12 games to have like an accrued season. He has done that, so
Do you really feel like most likely the timing on that LOL is?
I don't know.
Is
I'm
that-
just throwing it out there. I don't know. If I knew it, I'd report it. I don't know.
I know, but if
it was last
if,
night. The tweet was last night.
I thought it was yesterday late afternoon,
Yesterday
maybe.
afternoon.
But I tell you what, well, you can't prove what it's about. But if I'm the coaching staff and I see that that's the reaction to the suspension, I'd find that a double down
Maybe
problematic.
it's 2 games.
Yeah, that's-
But he did, like,
that
Andy
means laughing
specifically said he'll be back the following.
Tuesday.
That's good to know. Yeah, I remember he said that.
Yeah, he was smiling as he left the field
he's happy.
on Sunday. Yeah,
Andy would not say how Marcus handled the decision. He would not tell us which veterans he talked to. He also did not tell us specifically whether or not what the suspension was for, whether it was for tossing a flag or leaving the field. So, there wasn't a whole lot of...
Also, he said it was not for cumulative reasons, but I would suggest that had not all the other shenanigans happened this season, that he wouldn't suspend him for a game here.
I also wonder if this would happen if they were, what they were supposed to be right
Yeah,
now, which
yeah.
is like 12-2 or something.
Yeah.
10-2 or 9-3.
If they're 9-3 and lost to the Jets and everything in the Jets game happened, I don't know. I don't think we're talking about a full game.
Yeah.
We're all guessing here.
Yeah, it's good times here in Kansas City. Appreciate you, man.
I'm gonna walk out this door, man.
all right,
Smiling,
guys.
right?
Make
All
sure-
right, smiling.
Take these with you.
You brought them in.
You gotta let that marinate for a second. Walking out of man.
Next time we see Sam, he'll be
Not a man. That's not easy.
a little less.
Poor Sam, you know.
And, ooh, yeah. We don't want a video of that.
He was selfie.
We cut this for the podcast, right? This part?
Right.
Okay.
Right. Well, yeah.
You guys got anything else on this? Do you guys think like fans will take Marcus back next year? Like they want him back in a legitimate
Look,
way?
all this stuff relates to a lot of different things, but if he's returning a pick six every other week, I think that changes the conversation too, doesn't it? It's kind of a strange critical mass of things that have come together or not here.
You asked the question, and I've been here, I guess, as long as anybody, if not longer. And I don't remember there being an athlete. Coaches are different, but an athlete who fans were just so against that they didn't want to see him, not based on performance. If it was just a baseball Royals
Right.
player, it was
Bad pitcher.
horrible pitcher, can't have him back. But based on behavior behavior, I don't remember that ever happening. And to give up a Pro Bowl cornerback, how easy are those guys to find?
Yeah,
Pro
yeah.
Bowl cornerbacks.
There is an interesting case to be made, and Blair, you would, of all of us, have a far better shot at understanding this. But how much is he one of the most polarizing athletes Kansas City's had in the last generation? Anyway,
Who's in this conversation?
I
I
mean,
couldn't tell you.
there aren't many, right? Who would they be?
Well, I gotta imagine Chiefs fans weren't thrilled with Dale Carter or Larry Johnson, right?
Larry Johnson comes to mind as somebody who, and I'll tell you what, those who follow us on Facebook Live, I'm sure have their ideas about this.
Mm-hmm.
Larry Johnson was certainly not a popular person. He was very unpopular with media. That doesn't matter. But you know what? As long as he was rushing for 1,700 yards a year, they were good with him.
Yeah,
They
a little cap on it.
Bring him back. I think that's what happens to an above average player who becomes a behavior issue. It makes it easy to say let's part ways when otherwise it wouldn't happen.
Okay, so the Raiders, they bounced back after a rough start. This is a 6-6 football team,
Started 2-4.
and they won last week despite not having either one of their top receivers.
Yeah.
Crabtree's going to go off, and Cooper might be back, but the one guy they couldn't defend the last time was Jared Cook. They might not even have the guy they were using against him. It was Eric Murray.
That's right. Cook was the one that extended the game.
Yeah, 4th and 10 was it, or what?
Well, he was huge on the final drive.
Yeah.
He had the big reception on 4th down. Murray couldn't stop him. And then he was the one that on one of the penalties in the end zone that extended the game. 2 on-time downs to end the game. One of those was because of, I don't know if it was Murray or Nelson that couldn't defend Cook.
Interesting game, I think. The one thing you have to hang your hat on as a Chiefs fan is that, okay, they're good against the division teams, but that's it. I mean, there's nothing else really here they haven't given you anything to be excited about. They haven't given you one reason to expect them to do better than they have. We'll get to our predictions later, but man, this is not like a great time to be a Chiefs fan, man. Like,
no. And look, one quick question is: do you think on one side of the ball, fixed is the wrong word, but do you have reason to feel like you'll have some continuity with the offense?
Maybe.
After last week and the success they had against Oakland earlier in the season.
You're right on both counts. They had success against one of their better offensive games, and then they were terrific offensively, in a manner of speaking, against the Jets. And there's no kind of way to address this topic without sounding almost insulting to offensive players or coaches, but the Chiefs scored 31 points. And they had 4 touchdowns in a game for only the 3rd time this year. I think the Patriots and the Texans were the other 2 games. But they held the ball for 17 minutes. That's a big problem. It's a big problem when you hold the ball for that and run 45 plays. That's, what, you're not sustaining drives. You're not keeping your defense, off the field. You don't not score. You always have to score. If the opportunity is there to throw a 79-yard pass, you do it, or You throw to Kelsey too long ones, you do it. But
you're right.
But it's what they did on the other possessions, not picking up first downs, not establishing a running game, not winning the line of scrimmage. That's what's killing them.
And the chicken and egg of it is horrible when you got, the other team routinely having 15-play, 8-minute drives that just
demoralized. They're
13 to
demoralized.
20 third down conversions. That's the one that's.
I will tell you this. I'd hesitate before assuming the offense is back on track. You guys are going to laugh at this, but whatever. One thing I did last night, because remember we talked about the 2013 offensive line?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went back and watched the game that shall not be named, right? The Indy game, right? And it was noticeable how hard the offensive line came off the ball and the movement they generated, doubling at the point and climbing. That was noticeable because I haven't seen that in weeks.
Who were those guys?
At Brandon Albert,
Yep.
the left guard was Jeff Allen.
The
The center was Rod Hudson.
Yep.
John Asamoah. No, it was Jeff Schwartz. Jeff Schwartz at right guard, and then Don Stevenson.
Uh-huh.
And those guys were getting off the ball, man. Like I was like, wow. Like I haven't like
Ain't
these.
seen this in a while.
Yeah, like I was. It was noticeable how they were getting off. Those guys were all playing for money too, right? That was real, and I was like, wow. That's something to remember. My whole point for bringing that up is that the best indicator, in my opinion, for offensive success is an offensive line that can bring it every week. And yeah, they got some big shot plays against the Jets, but I don't know if I've seen enough with this offensive line.
Well, look, can you really say it's a functional offense functioning as it should be if you're getting 11 rushes for 17 or 9 rushes for 17 yards or whatever it was that Kareem Hunt. And so that's a heck of a point. It relates directly to your point about the line.
Yeah, I think they've simplified things. I know I was killing them in the past for some very difficult blocks, and I do think that helped, especially in the passing game. Mm-hmm. The offensive line pass protected okay against the Jets. Now, granted, it's not like they got 86 Taylor coming off the edge, but they do. The front three they have is pretty. They got some guys. My point is, like, I don't know. I can't promise you guys that the offense is going to be able to do that against this Raider team. Khalil Mack is a real problem.
Yeah,
that guy is amazing.
Always is against the Chiefs.
They have some. Like Bruce Irvin's playing well. Like, I don't know, man. Like, this is going to be a tough game, and it's going to get tougher if the defense can't get a stop, which they couldn't the last time.
Remember when we were talking about the Raiders game going into that week? It was all about how Derek Carr never had a good game against the Chiefs. He'd beaten everybody, had great games against everybody else, but his collective record against the Chiefs was really poor. And for whatever reason, and a lot of it's Marcus Peters, he had no success against the Chiefs, and then he has great success against the Chiefs in that game. And part of that was that may have been one of the first games I remember the Chiefs not getting any pressure. Derek Carr having a pretty clean pocket the whole game, pretty easy pickings against
and maybe
the Chiefs.
Almost no pressure since. Maybe was it the Denver game they got 3 sacks, but that's about it. I think they've had 1 sack in the last 4 games, and that's a whole other thing. But I will say this though, it's pretty neat to have meaningful game with the Chiefs and Raiders in December, right? I mean, if you weren't so conscious of the way the season's gone for the Chiefs, they're basically playing for the division in December.
They are. This is Alex Smith talked about today. It's a 2-game season, really, for the Chiefs, right? It's and I really think anything less than 2-0, and they don't win the division and go to the playoffs. I think even if they split, it's one of the other 2 teams is going to continue to play well. And I think the Chiefs really need to go 2-0 in the next 2 weeks.
You talked about this a little bit before, Blair, but just breaking down the number. The Chiefs lose this week, then
they'll have been swept by the Raiders.
So they can't. They would lose a tie with the Raiders.
They have to finish ahead of the Raiders in the standing.
Okay. That just means that my January is going to be clear. I'm actually going to stop mentioning that because last time I mentioned stuff like that, I had the entire thing ruined. So, you guys want to?
When you were wearing like the sunglasses and sombrero or whatever right before summer break?
I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop jinxing myself. All right. You guys want to answer some questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Jesse Bates, thanks for watching, man. We appreciate you. He says, any whispers in the building about what's going on with D Ford, and do you guys think Eric Fisher's still playing at a good enough level to warrant his contract? I'll handle that. I don't know what's going on with D Ford. I'm surprised he's been out as long as he has been. To be honest,
he looks fine. I mean, what do I know about back injuries, right? But he's walking around. He walks around the locker room and he looks fine. I'll tell you who else was interesting look today in the locker room. Didn't speak to reporters, but there was Eric Berry
prancing,
running across the locker room, running from his locker area to the shower, I guess, area, and nothing. He with the Achilles injury, nothing, no band, no brace or anything, nothing on his foot. I'm not I'm not saying anything. Just I didn't expect to see him, prancing is a good word, or running through the locker room today. That just was a startled look.
It was. We head on a swivel like, what?
Yeah. You saw it too, Dave?
Yeah. Gallivanting.
Gallivanting. That was the verb I was looking for, gallivant.
Do you guys think Fish is playing at a good enough level? No, I mean, no, not right now. He needs to be better than he has been.
Would you say anyone on the offensive line is playing to the level they need to be playing right now? Not really, right?
No. I mean,
it's not like one guy's a hero and everybody else is.
I'm not going to defend anybody up there. I mean, if one guy was dominating his blocks, they would just keep running there, and no one is. So, Matthew Brownfield, thanks for watching. Matt says, when did the team leaders get a heads up on this happening? Today before it broke? Yeah.
That was how Andy explained it.
Yeah, that's how Andy.
And in fact, the thought was initially that maybe these guys had some say or some feedback in it, but Andy made it pretty clear it was his or their decision passed on to the players as opposed to with input.
And Alex Smith was asked about it today, and he said he used the word officially. Officially, we found out this morning.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know. There must have been some buzz about it.
You think the LOL was the tip-off?
Maybe.
No.
Maybe.
Well, I'm sure one of Marcus's teammates knew. He's close with a lot of DBs there. Somebody knew.
Yeah.
Jesse Bates says, do you guys think he left because he was frustrated or because he really thought he was ejected? What do you guys think?
That's the question, isn't it? I think that's a significant distinction.
And almost impossible to understand with what we know, right? Mm-hmm. The thing that you guys have both brought this up and Sam brought it up, it's true. So you've got a Chiefs security guy walking him off the field. Now, that's on the opposite side of the field from the Chiefs bench, so he had to go over there. Right? It's not like he was just waiting for Marcus to come walking along. So why was he dispatched over there? Yeah, it's unless he saw Marcus walking off and did it on his own. I mean, that's kind of interesting. You want like a replay camera on where he got it in mind to go over there.
Mm-hmm. I thought he was ejected because the ref took his hat and threw his hat, which is another penalty.
It was the same thing the ref did when Kelsey got thrown out.
Right. Well, they do that.
They take the hat off.
Right, because you don't have your flag.
Right.
It's the same ref throwing a second penalty.
And in the press box, when they made the announcement that it was considered a foul against the official.
Yeah, but that was announced that way. It didn't show up in the play-by-play sheet. But it was announced that way.
And it was right as we saw him walking off, and they said that. It was like, oh, foul against the official.
Got to go.
That's what they announced on the field, with the microphone on the field.
I don't even think that, man, if Marcus just comes back with his socks on, then,
I actually, in what I've been writing, I actually try to make that point that each one of these little things could be maybe you come back out with your socks on, ready to play.
Yeah, nobody is.
My bad, I'm hurrying back
this
out.
This isn't even a question, really.
Yeah.
But there were no socks. So
I mean,
and there was a photo of him with no socks.
And by the way, if he had gone in, NFL rule to have your socks on, he would have gotten a penalty for it.
That's right. He would have to have taken the socks of a teammate.
And a league fine for uniform compliance.
Right. Somebody would have been taking their cleats off. Taking their.
Good point. Can you be fined for what you're wearing on the sideline if you don't go back in the game?
They got the uniform police, so.
So maybe he's getting fined also.
Tyler Dinner says, if Eric Berry was still healthy, with the meltdown, will we have seen the same meltdown on Sunday in the season as a whole?
You brought this up. No.
Yeah. No way.
Emphatic no.
No way. No way. Eric's like the one guy in there that reaches every corner of the room. Kelsey kind of does it too, but Eric can reach every corner.
Houston has tried a few times with Marcus, right? But is it just, what is it? He doesn't play the same position. He doesn't quite crack the code with Marcus the way Berry can.
Considered, he's actually done a pretty good job, but because this could have happened weeks ago. But it's different with Berry. But Berry's back there with him.
Yeah,
Berry can talk to him every play if he needs to. Plus Eric Berry has an immense amount of respect and commands it across the league. So, I just think that matters. And it's different when Eric isn't on the field with him, or on the sideline sitting on the bench.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just different. I also think that Eric is one of those guys that holds people accountable. He has the ability to change a teammate's behavior through talking. I know he's done that specifically on a few occasions. Like, he's one of the people that brought the best out of Chris Jones. I heard some story last year where Barry got tired of the up and down play, and he went up to him in practice one day and was like, "Hey, you can dominate, do it." And Jones was good for 4 games in a row or something. That is real, man. Missing that dude stinks for these guys, man. He's kind of important.
They're guys, they're teammates that I think command so much respect that the younger or other players don't want to disappoint, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to disappoint him. And I think that's Eric Berry's the only guy in that locker room who is that way, who's like that.
Yeah.
And without him, you lose that. You lose that element.
They have got to. I do think that if they're going to try to win next year in a meaningful way, if they're really going to say, "Hey, we want to win this," and mean it. You say, "I want to win the Super Bowl," and mean it. There's going to they need to pay an over-the-hill veteran at a position of need that can still play, but is 30 or something. Somebody that's won, somebody that commands respect, somebody that can wear the C.
It happens in baseball all the time.
And
It's such a baseball thing.
I think you made it. Your point.
Yep.
Your point was so perfect, Blair. Though there's a difference between just guys around the room that you respect and guys that you don't want to disappoint.
Yeah.
You can picture that in any work setting, even.
You don't want to let them down.
Yeah.
You just don't.
I think this leadership as a whole needs to improve.
I do too. I do too. It's really been tested for the first time in the Andy's tenure, right?
Yeah.
Really going through something bad, and they can't get out of it.
This team is too talented to have this kind of
Yes.
stretch. This stretch is embarrassing. And good teams hold each other accountable. That's what happens. They hold each other accountable, and they, hey,
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get in the.
I've had you do that to me.
Right here in this room for all
That's
of
why
us.
we work. How many times have we been picked up by these guys? That's what. Hey, let's go. Come on. What are you doing today? Right? Did you get in the weight room
Right.
today? Did you get in the film room today? Let's go. That stuff matters, man.
I think Sam's the only one that we haven't reached. Can't reach him.
Sam's a quiet player.
He needs to feel like he doesn't let you down, Blair. We gotta-
Sam's very much laid back. He just, we don't have to worry about him. Thank you for the question, Matt. Paul DeSantis says, will any of you be shocked if they traded Marcus in the offseason? Shock? The problem is, what are you going to, who's going to, who wants, who, what, so
Yeah.
if you're going to figure out who would trade for Marcus Peters, you would have to say, okay, who has the need, right?
and who has what you want? But
Not even that, but hey, who has the
just
need?
who has the need? Start there.
And who has a strong enough head coach to take it, right?
Yeah.
And,
Anybody east, anybody west of New England?
well, enough head coach. Also, who is not on the Chiefs' schedule the next 2 years. It comes down to all
You
that.
don't want that.
No,
You don't want that.
no. I mean, that I gotta imagine that's a pretty tiny list, right? Maybe Pete Carroll. Maybe Pete Carroll can handle that. They got a lot of personality in that
A
room.
lot of
Peterson.
Plus, that's not that far away from Oakland. Plus, Marshawn's been there.
David Ewell just mentioned Doug Peterson.
Yeah.
Philly might be a tough.
Yeah, I don't
if
think
this
so.
is a tough fit for him,
I
Philly
don't
might be
know.
a tough fit.
There's no
now,
way. No.
not talking about the team, but I mean just
that
the,
market and the media. No.
Tell you what, though, the Seattle is that kind of
Seattle's pretty
rings.
good.
Yeah.
Although they played them next year, they're at Seattle next season.
Well, you know what? Here's the one thing you'd have to think about too. Would the compensation be good enough to deal with it, to take that L? If you make that trade, you need decent compensation.
Yeah.
For
You know?
for that trade,
Yeah,
you need excellent
Yeah, I mean,
compensation.
you would.
You do.
That matters,
You
know.
can't just give them away.
No, God, no.
Why would you?
And you know what? Maybe you just keep them. If you can work this thing out, and Andy, that's what's best.
Yeah.
But we can't tell you no. Because we don't know. We don't know. We
real
got to see how
thing-
this thing ends, man.
Look, a real thing is how he responds to this the rest of the season.
Them
Not just
Philly
in how he
fans-
plays, but
no.
on the field.
Oh, and I don't see Peterson as the kind of alpha dog that could handle that. I'm sorry, I don't see that. They do have some strong leaders in that room though. Jason Peters and Kelsey, and you know, some of those guys are pretty. Malcolm Jenkins, they got some guys, but better leadership than here. But those are the criteria. So have fun with that. Is this a wake up call to Peter? The wake up call was turning the Jets into the who? 99 Rams. That that was the wake up call. Okay. Brian LeBurge is the one liner king. So did Andy just suspend Sam as well? Bobby Tarwacki says, do you think they saw anything on tape that added to the suspension? Was there an effort issues with Peters? Baldinger roasted him yesterday. Okay. He roasted him. I didn't like that. Because, like, if you watch the whole game, like...
Are there effort issues? I mean, the tackling is one thing.
They're acting like he's not into... Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
But they're acting like he's not into the game. Guys, there was one time they were in an incorrect alignment in the fourth quarter. And he's the one that called timeout.
I saw
and was
that.
pissed off about it. Like, we're not going to act like he wasn't into the game. We're not going to do that. He was into the game.
I'm told on the plane flight home, he was still agonizing over the game, talking to guys
Right.
about the game, trying to figure out what went wrong.
Like, that's
It
not
didn't matter to
fair.
him.
Like, that's not a fair thing. Like, no one, I would tell you this, like, nobody in that room, very few people care as much about the game of football as much as he did. He was into the game. He was just pissed the whole time.
He was visibly upset.
The
in that
whole time.
Penalty stricken. That whole penalty series, he was
That's not-
the only guy on the defense that looked rattled.
That's not a checked out guy.
It's
okay?
not, but here's two things that add to that, or
The
lead
petulance
to
is
that
bad,
perception.
though.
The petulance hurts, but he is at times contact averse. At times,
Oh, yeah.
not always.
There's...
But the other thing he does that's interesting to me is he does not do the false hustle thing where you jump on a pile late, and that can be misconstrued as he's not really hustling. But he doesn't do the little nonsense
Right.
you know what I mean? Like,
Let's talk about something else with the tackling, though, okay? So the Jets had more than a few goal line situations, correct?
I believe it was 10 plays from
Okay.
once they reached the 5-yard line.
Guess who was in the game on the goal line when the other corner came out? Peters. Guess who was in the box on those plays? You know, second and goal from the one. Marcus Peters is in the box inside the tackle. I don't think that's the place you put a guy who won't tackle when it matters. So have some context here, like just some information for you. I know it always feels like I'm defending him, but I think it's important to be fair on both ways.
Just trying to
right?
look,
Like,
I think he's such a riddle that you got to try to understand him, and so you're left with you're left. What fans see of Marcus Peters is what's shown on their screen and then in replays. But one of the advantages that we have is we do get a broader perspective of him at the game, on the sideline when the cameras aren't on him, in the locker room.
Among his teammates,
Among
right?
his teammate,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
do. Even though he doesn't share often with the media, we do get to see him in places that others don't get to see him. And I have the only problems that I've had with him are what you just expressed. Some of the tackling issues, and then the knucklehead penalty. As a player, I think he's fantastic. If you're a Chiefs fan, I think you should want Marcus Peters on your team, and you'd want him back here next year.
Matthew Brownfield has some good questions about Eric Berry. He wants to ask you guys. Berry's been around. He has been, but it's different when you're not playing. I mean, you're like here, but you're not on the field.
That's
You're
right.
not really
Heat of
in the
battle.
mix.
There's a heat of the battle
Right.
issue here.
What makes the gallivanting special beyond the obvious? Was this the first time you've seen him without the bandage or boot?
First time I've seen him.
Yeah,
and,
me
and he moves
too.
so fast, I just saw him out of the corner of my
Right.
eye.
I had to mention to you. Look.
Yeah.
The significance to me that was a significance. The Chiefs have dealt with a lot of Achilles injuries here the last few years, and once these guys have those injuries, they disappear. Right? You don't see them.
Oh.
You never see them. But
That's true.
You saw this is Barry 10, 11 weeks after he suffered the injury, and it just was surprising to see him. And we don't see him during the week often either.
Yeah.
He's been in there occasionally, but on a cane or with a crutch. This time it was crutchless and running.
Yeah, I noticed it right away.
In the locker room, that doesn't mean anything about the season, but it was just surprising to see. Sorry, I can't be more specific than
No,
that.
you're good, man. Larry Looper says Mike Tomlin could handle Peters.
Man,
But do you really want the Steelers having that guy? Jesus, man, he'd be a good
already
fit there
can't beat
too.
the Steelers.
God,
God.
you know, whenever you face the Chiefs, like if you face Marcus Peters, he's getting one. Like you just
Like-
might as
like
well
you-
just
like
bank
you did
it
the
up.
Raiders.
Just get it over with early. Just here, just be done. Any word on who will call plays this week? I'd imagine it went so well that Nagy is still do it. Yeah. Who wins the West, guys? Jordan Tribe asks.
I feel like the best team right now is San Diego.
was gonna say
Los
the
Angeles.
I
Sorry,
was going to say the Carson Chargers.
the Carson Chargers.
Yeah, they're definitely the favorites right
But
now.
I don't know who wins.
Although
I mean,
all the analytics and the computer things said the Chiefs are still have the best because they have two home. I guess the three of the
four at
last
home,
four home.
all division.
Yeah, no, the
I'm sorry, two. Yeah,
yeah at Denver.
At Denver.
So the weakest one of the three division games on the road. Analytics say the Chiefs. My sense just says the way the Chargers are playing. they're-
Ernie Grafton says, "Who should we keep on the offensive line?" I wouldn't get rid of Mitch Morse. I think his play fell off sharply after he might have a broken bone in his foot for all
And
we
he gets
know. We don't
re-injured. He
know,
got
right?
re-injured in New
Yeah.
York. In
He's
New
not
Jersey,
what he's
and
shown. Mitch
he
Morse is a good football
didn't
player.
practice today, and I'm kind of worried about him the rest of the season.
yeah. You have to wonder now.
I think the Chiefs could go with
Big
Zach
I do
at
too.
center and Witzman at guard. And
They won a lot of games with Zach at center, man.
I like
you know?
Zach at center.
Yeah, I
I
do
just like
too.
his size.
I do too.
You like him enough that you'd wonder about moving Mitch to guard next
I
year?
would. I really would.
I would too,
He's
because
played it.
Because Zach's certainly better as a center,
I
Yes.
think so.
yes,
And,
yes,
and I think Mitch can play guard.
Yeah.
and Mitch could probably be as good as a guard.
and plus that gives you a really athletic left side of the line with him and Fisher. It'd be nice to see him get back to some of their running back screens, man. I mean, I don't
Where
feel
has
like I've
that-
seen it at
where-
all.
Where has that been?
I don't know. I don't know where it's been, but I don't think. I think Zach Fulton. You can win a lot of games. Now his one issue is like, he'd never been a center before he came to the NFL. So like his understanding of like calling out, like it's not going to be the same as.
Us three were at the game that he debuted. It was the exhibition game against the Rams in St. Louis, and he lined up at center for the first time and had a great game.
Yeah. I also wonder if Parker Ehinger, who I really like, I think he might get the best of him next year, right?
It's
So,
going to have to be.
Right.
It looks like it's going to have to be.
I think that might be something to keep an eye on, man. I think they probably missed that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I keep Mitch Morse. In a perfect world, because the kind of line I want, I keep Zach Fulton, but I don't.
Yeah, you think he's.
I like him. I just like him. There.
Yeah,
It'd be a cheap something, but Duvernay Tardif, you got to keep him because you got the money. He's playing hurt too, I'm sure. Mitch Schwartz is getting to the point where you can probably save a little by releasing him, but
Yeah.
there's not the offensive line play in this league is so poor. You're not gonna find someone better. You maybe want to develop someone better, but Mitch is still the best you're gonna have there. The problem is you're not gonna draft anybody that's gonna make you better immediately. Unless it's an interior guy. Maybe you can find someone, but honestly, with their second and third round picks, Blair,
Which are their first couple of picks in the draft.
I need an edge rusher, man. I need
Yeah,
another edge
edge
rusher.
rusher.
I need another corner now.
Those you just named the two biggest
Yeah,
needs. I think,
it
for this
certainly
team.
emerged as that.
Edge-
now,
This
yeah.
team needs some help, man. These guys
Yeah.
need a lot of help. That's a good
That's-
question, Ern.
That's what bowl
Big
games are
earn.
for. You need to be scouting Chiefs edge rushers and cornerbacks in these bowl games.
Hey, I've been doing this for a while now. I got it. Okay, we got that under control. Okay, babe. I want to have you on a podcast where we talk about college players we like. 'Cause I
Yeah,
know
we'll
that-
do. Absolutely, we'll do that.
Does this same skid happen if Dorsey was our GM this year? That's a question from Kyle Fisher. I can tell you that yes, that has had no bearing on this happening.
Yeah, I agree.
It's the same
I
team,
agree.
man. It just believe me. You're right. He says after this offseason is this year really a huge surprise. Now that's an interesting point because I know Tom only cares about winning, and for him to mention the stuff he did made me start thinking, I wonder if some of these guys, wish that those three that missed were there. In retrospect, Barry probably hadn't been feeling right. He missed it trying to heal up. Remember we talked to him when he came for the mandatory camp, and we were like, "What have you been doing?" He was like, "Resting."
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
That's interesting. And then the Achilles thing happened.
Remember how people ridiculed him?
Yeah.
Some people. I mean,
Well,
like
then he goes-
not thinking he
yeah.
knew what was best for himself.
Yeah, at St. Joe, he's off. He doesn't work out for days, but he stands out there for hours signing autographs. Remember that?
Yeah.
Up near the press gate, but then he gets hurt in New England. I'm thinking, man, what was going on there? What did he know, and what was going on with that foot?
With just speculation, like maybe they knew it was gonna snap. Like
Yeah,
maybe that's the kind of thing where it's just like you feel it, you know it's coming. When you start seeing guy with Achilles on the injury report, I feel like it always snaps in like 2 months or something.
Yeah.
Like it's coming, and they just knew it, and they just tried to manage it.
I think they were putting foot. He was down for foot injury.
Yeah. Heel. They were saying heel.
That's what
it was heel. It was heel.
It's like
So
your transmission
fascinating.
slipping.
So
You know your transmission
there's
is
some
gonna go
player
out.
that they just said had some Achilles stuff recently that's been on the injury report. Who was that?
Yes. Oh gosh, I'll have to Google it.
I know, but yeah, something to keep an eye on. Thoughts on Tano from Sunday? Well, good question, Jesse. He plays hard. The kid really plays his tail off. Almost did it.
Yeah.
He really plays. He gets that, and he's energetic. He's somebody you can build with. Really happy with the development in a game where like not everybody was terribly into it. I know Benny was. Reggie Ragland was. Derek didn't play bad either, but
It was really
Rakeem
upset
was
by the
into it.
outcome.
Yeah, he was. Rakeem was into it. Tano was playing hard. He was getting after it. Now, his eyes need a lot of work. The reason he's not playing, you saw it a few times, that edge, he's got to learn to hold that a little better. And he's got some work there, okay? Just as far as understanding the concepts of holding the edge and how and when to do it. That's going to take some time. But there's stuff to build on with him.
I'll tell you what, don't Google Chiefs and Achilles injuries because you've got to sift through hundreds of stories.
Infinity.
Brendan Downey says, is Revis showing any leadership qualities? I mean, he just got here, man. So, look, man.
Is who?
Darrell Revis.
Oh, Revis. No,
No.
it's too
Yeah,
soon
I don't think
for
that's.
Yeah.
If Alex finishes strong, can we get a number 1 pick for? No, that's not happening. No. You'd be doing good to get us 2, I think, at this point.
Yeah, you've been saying 3, and I was maybe with fingers crossed saying 2.
Yeah. Okay. I've read all the ones that I've seen, guys. We do appreciate you watching. Let's make our predictions for Sunday. Let's start here. What do you
I
think?
said it Sunday. I'm going to say it again. I'm going Chiefs in this game. I think they found some solutions at the Meadowlands. This Marcus Peters thing throws a wrench into the defensive plans, but sometimes teams rally around such moments. So I'm going to give this one to the Chiefs. Pretty close. High-scoring game in Oakland. I'll go the opposite way here. 19-17 Chiefs.
Grudgingly going to go with the Chiefs too, and think just the law of odds that they're going to finally win one of these close ones. 28-24 Chiefs.
I'm going to go with the Raiders because I'm tired of being wrong. So I'm just tired of it. So I think they could win, but now it's show me time. Win a game and maybe I'll pick you again. Raiders 2017. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. Remember, go to kansascity.com for all your Chiefs news. Also, remember to rate and review us on SportsBeat KC on iTunes. This is also on Android. I always pimp iTunes, but on Android too. You should check that out. We do appreciate you guys watching. Thank you for all your questions. I tried to get to as many as possible. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, guys.